This year, the Patriots probably had one of the best drafts they've had in a while, and in this video, I'm just going to be going over all the picks and talking about it. If you want to see more of this stuff, let me know in the comments, because this is my first video on this channel. So, yeah, let's get into it. First, we're going to be starting off with Drake Maye. I think Drake Maye is the most raw quarterback in this draft, and he probably has the highest ceiling, too, out of the rest of the quarterbacks. I think he's a beast of a player, he can bomb it 60 yards downfield right to his target or scramble at the pocket, making people miss. I would probably compare him to Josh Allen because his arm strength, speed, size, aggression, and just like ability to make plays is just really similar to him. I do also think that it'll take around a season or two for him to reach his full potential, as he definitely has some flaws that he needs to focus on. For example, his accuracy. There are multiple videos of him throwing the ball like perfectly downfield to his receiver, but there are also a lot of videos of him just completely just missing his target by a lot. So I think that's the first thing he needs to work on for sure. I think he also has a tendency of trying to play hero ball, where he's like trying to make a big play no matter the situation, which isn't a bad thing, but a lot of times when he does, he's just being stupid with the ball. Like, there are times where he's getting sacked and he just chucks the ball over the line of scrimmage hoping that somebody's there. And a lot of the times it would either lead to a pick or just a big scare. I think he both has a lot of positives and some negatives too, but I know he's a great quarterback and football player, and for the last month or so, I was hoping that, the Patriots would take him at 3, because I think, me personally, he's my favorite quarterback in the draft. I like his ceiling better than Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, honestly. If he just works on his decision making and accuracy, I really think he's gonna be a really good player in the NFL. With the 5th pick in the 2nd round, we took Jalen Polk. Jalen Polk, I think he's a great prospect, and he could also be a great receiver with some work. He's big and aggressive at 6'1", 205 pounds, and he's great at one-on-one jump balls. He has, great body control and ball skills to bring down contested catches. Last season, he put up 69 catches, 1,159 yards, and 9 touchdowns, while being the second option to Rome Odunze. I think if Rome Odunze wasn't there and Polk was the first option, he would easily be a first-round pick. Although he's great on one-on-ones, I think he's going to have trouble beating man coverage in the NFL, as DBs in the big league are levels better than DBs at college level. He's definitely more of a zone beater type of guy in my eyes, and I think that's where he's going to be utilized the most. Another reason I think he's going to struggle against man coverage for a little bit is because just his lack of burst and suddenness on his routes. I also think he's going to be pretty readable to DBs, especially, in man coverage. Besides all that, I think he is going to make some big plays this season. I don't think he's going to completely break out until next season, just because he's going to need some time to get used to, just the NFL in general. I think overall, I do really like the pick, and I'm excited to see him play next season. In the 3rd round, we took Caedan Wallace, and honestly, I don't know much about him, but watching the film, I think that he has really good hand-eye coordination. He always uses his hands in the right place and takes his time on his placement and doesn't panic or anything. Another thing I realized is that he fully extends his arms out when he blocks, so he can keep as much separation as possible between him and the rusher. I also noticed that he keeps engaged, with his blocks, far after the running back is past the line of scrimmage, which I think that's a really good trait in an offensive lineman. Caedan Wallace is a bigger person, so in the NFL, I can see smaller and quicker edge rushers taking advantage of that and getting around him using speed moves and stuff, but overall, I think he's a hit or miss type of player. I can see him either being surprisingly good or falling in the depth chart. With the first of our 2 picks in the 4th round, we took Layden Robinson. Like Caedan Wallace, I don't know a lot about him, but he is very different from Caedan Wallace. Layden Robinson is definitely a more aggressive player. During pass blocks, instead of keeping his arms extended, he'll use them to shove the rusher and try to push him off balance. During run blocks, he uses all his power trying to push the rusher back as much as he can, and he just tries to put him in the turf. His smaller frame could mean that D linemen will take advantage from him in the NFL, and I could also see him being a hit or miss type of player. With our second pick in the 4th round, we picked Javon Baker. And this is easily my second favorite pick probably in the draft, right behind Drake Maye. I think Javon Baker's an animal, and there really is no reason why he should have dropped this far down the board. It's crazy how we got him. I'm so happy we got him. In his last year of college, he averaged 21 yards per catch, which was second in the FBS. He's also a great route runner. He can beat his defenders in man or zone coverage. He's aggressive, and like Jalen Polk, he's great at those one-on-one jump balls. The only downside is that sometimes he struggles with catching, and he'll just drop easy balls every now and then. But besides that, I think he's a great player. I don't know how he dropped down to us in the 4th round. I really think he could turn into a Devontae Adams or DeAndre Hopkins. I think him and Drake Maye are going to do great together in the NFL. With the first pick in the 6th round, we took Marcellas Dial. This was probably my least favorite pick in the draft, but it doesn't mean I don't like him. I'm happy we took a corner. I just think that there are some better ones on the board. He does have good physical attributes as he's 6 feet tall. He had a 40.5-inch vert, and he ran a 4.46. He's really good at breaking up passes at the catch point, and his man coverage isn't bad. Some of his downsides include his tackling ability. Sometimes he's too aggressive during man coverage, causing pass interference, and his hip transitions could be better during coverage. Overall, I don't think he's a terrible player, and I can see him squeezing into the roster at the start of the season. With our second pick in the 6th round, we took Joe Milton. I think it was a weird pick because we took Drake Maye earlier in the draft, but it makes sense as Milton is an interesting project and we just want to change up the quarterback room with new coaching staff. He's known for having probably the strongest arm in college football, and that's definitely going to transfer to the NFL too. Some things I like about him is that he doesn't panic in the pocket, he slides out of pressure, and he escapes the pocket well to make plays. Although he has a rocket arm, he doesn't have great accuracy. Last season, he only completed about 38% of his passes that were over 10 yards. He frequently forces moving targets to break stride in order to catch the ball. I think Joe Milton's a good project quarterback that has a lot to work on, and I can see him beating Zappy out for a roster spot. With the last pick in the draft, we took Jaheim Bell. I like this pick as he's one of the fastest tight ends in the draft, and he can play all over the field. He's a tough and aggressive player that's always fighting to get extra yards. He's kinda like the budget Brock Bowers, which isn't a bad thing at all. Some of his downsides is that he's an undersized tight end, only being 6'2", and he lacks the instincts of a lead blocker. Overall, I think he's a good player, and he's definitely going to be involved with the offense this season. That's going to be it for my overview of the Patriots draft this year. If you have your own opinions on some of these players, or if you agree or disagree with something I said, feel free to leave a comment, and I'll respond to it for sure. But if you made it this far, feel free to like and subscribe. Just saying. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video.